What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about mindfulness, which is basically the idea of staying in the present and being completely absorbed with whatever you are doing in that moment. And maybe you guys have heard of this term already, but you don't fully understand it or know how to practice it, or why you should even want to apply mindfulness to your life to begin with. So that's what we'll be going over today. What is it, how to practice, and why you should care. So let's get started. All right, so mindfulness teaches us to focus on one thing at a time, to be fully immersed in whatever you are doing. I mean, how many times have you been in the middle of doing something and you are off thinking about the next thing on your to-do list, or worrying about what you said earlier, or will you have time to watch your show on Netflix tonight? The point is that we are so often never fully present in whatever we are doing in any given moment. Sure, we are giving just enough of our attention to do that particular task, but often a lot of our attention is in our own heads, reviewing something of the past or worrying about the future, but never giving 100% of our attention to what we are doing in that moment. And you may be thinking right now, well, yeah, what happened earlier today was important and I want to make sure I said the right thing. And I need to plan for my future. So I don't really know what you're getting at here, dude. And to that, I would say I agree to an extent. Recalling events from the past is useful and planning for the future is necessary. I'll give you that. But I would argue how much of your thinking about the past and future is actually beneficial, or is it more of a habit to constantly be thinking? And ask yourself this as well. Since most of us are thinking all day long, how often in our day-to-day, when we are doing the dishes or driving and not being fully engaged in that activity, instead and inside our own heads thinking, how often do you actually make big life decisions or come to epiphanies? Sure, that may happen sometimes, but I imagine, like a lot of us, the bulk of your thoughts are just thoughts. Can you even really recall the thoughts you had when you went to the bathroom yesterday? Or have you forgotten most of them? Because like a lot of us, we think habitually. Not because we need to in that given situation, like going to take a piss, but because the thinking mind is always in the on position, whether we actually need to use the mind or not. So right now, this is what I want you to do. Think of something you really enjoy doing, whether it be listening to music, TV, working with your hands, something outside, cooking, whatever, it doesn't matter. And think of those times when you are really into it. I mean, it's just you and what you love to do. Not thinking about anything else, completely in that moment, loving life, just in that flow state. And then an hour or two goes by and you look at the clock and say to yourself, damn, it's 5 o'clock already? Time flew by. And then what happens? You feel refreshed after, you feel less stressed. Why? Because you were completely lost in the moment, enjoying yourself, focused on what you were doing at that time. That is mindfulness. That is what I mean by being in the present moment. Being so focused on whatever you are currently doing that your imagined problems about life situations are gone. So you have probably been mindful before and you didn't even know it. The cool thing is, it doesn't just have to be with the things that you love doing the most. You can do this with everything in your life. And what's crazy, things that were kind of boring that you don't really like doing, when you are totally present in them, not thinking, those boring things can actually become weirdly enjoyable. It's so cool. So for one of the examples I mentioned earlier, driving. Most of us either drive or ride as a passenger from time to time at least. So instead of getting lost in your own head with thoughts, try to notice something new along your route. Maybe like a weird looking tree or a house that you haven't seen before, how the steering wheel feels on your hands, or the other cars on the road, or the road. But the idea is to really be there in that moment. And it helps too if you act as if you were doing this thing for the first time. Really trying to notice everything around you, not only with your eyes, but engage the other senses as well. This helps with mindfulness too. So like smells, sounds, touch. You'll be surprised at how much you miss when we were instead up here in our minds with thoughts rather than where we actually are. So here is the main takeaway, guys. Do whatever you have to do fully. Try to give 100% of your attention to it without worrying about what you have to do tomorrow and what you worry or regret in the past. Just like you would when you get lost in the flow of your favorite hobby. Completely immerse yourself in that thing without thinking. And only thinking if it's required for whatever you're actually doing, but not about anything else. That's mindfulness. And try it out for yourself. And once you do, you will see how much stress just evaporates, man. That is the beauty of the present moment. And real quick, I'm about to get a little philosophical on you, but it's just to help illustrate my point, so bear with me. And pay attention. When you think about the past, when that past event happened, it was once now. And when is the only time you can think about the past? Now. How about that future moment that hasn't happened yet? When it does, it will be now. Yeah, you got it. There's only ever now. And the more we can stay in the only place that actually exists, this moment, the more peace you will feel. I myself often go back and forth with being in the present. Some days I'm pretty good about it and I can focus on the one thing I'm doing, and other days I'm all over the place. But hey, we are all human. We have good days, we have bad days. But I can tell you from experience of having plenty of days with and without mindfulness, I am much happier and just enjoy my life more when I practice this amazingly simple gift, staying present. No pun intended. And just so you guys know, mindfulness is definitely a skill, meaning the more you do it, the easier it gets. On the flip side though, don't practice for a week or two and it gets pretty tough. So the point is, when you first start out, it will be hard. You will really begin to notice how often you are thinking, but please don't beat yourself up. Please be patient, and in time, you will get better at it. Some days, even if you've practiced for years, it will still be challenging. The key thing to remember is that you can always come back to it. And you will forget about being present, we all do. The beauty of it is though, is the knowledge that mindfulness is always there for you in each and every moment, starting now. So all right, we pretty much covered everything. We covered the what, the why, and how. So I'm just gonna recap everything and I'll be done. So mindfulness is the practice of staying present as best you can, trying not to think about other things from the past or the future. And why should we want to do this? Because when we do practice mindfulness, we feel more at peace, our problems seem less significant, we retain valuable life energy that would have instead been spent on a lot of useless thinking, and a deeper appreciation for life itself. And I don't have to tell you guys that that's a great feeling. So how do we know that to be true? Remember, go back and remember the times when you were completely immersed in your favorite activity, when you lost track of time, your problems, what you had to do tomorrow. Everything was gone except for the present moment. So remember how good that feels. It's like a damn vacation for your brain. And the cool part about the mindfulness thing, you can apply this towards everything in your life. And you will realize that the things that you once thought were boring or don't like doing are kind of fun when you go into them fully with presence. So thank you all for watching. I hope you learned a little bit about the power of now and why you should stay practicing mindfulness and staying in the present moment. The only moment you can ever have. Thanks, guys.